Welcome to another writing and drawing update. I'm nearly at the end of my month-long challenge, and I'll do a full wrap-up after it's done. But the spoiler is that I'm really happy with it. I think this is about as much consistency as I can manage, and so not in the same league at all as the people who do NaNoWriMo or Inktober in their original form. But a tiny bit of consistency does go a long way, I think, for me. The continuity of coming back to the novel every day has kind of made it easier to get in each time, and basically my brain is simmering on the novel pretty much all the time in the background. And so that's been really nice. So here I'm drawing one of the settings in my novel. It's one of the few settings that I can say with confidence will show up. So for that reason, I won't say much about it because I want it to be a surprise. So now for the writing update. So I was on my third pass with going through the story and answering questions and posing questions. And so today I spent a little longer than I'd planned to because I was excited, and I basically made it to the end of the story again. And so the third pass is complete, and I'm gonna have to figure out what to do next. I could continue pretty much as I have been, just go back to the beginning and just keep refining. Or I might spend some time organizing all the material I've generated so far, turn those Q&A type things into actual scenes, or bullet points, or something that I can basically use to do the actual writing with. And that, of course, is in keeping with the time of year and, the question of what to do next more generally, because not only do I need to figure out what to do tomorrow and the next couple of days as I wrap up this month-long challenge, I also need to figure out what I'm going to do afterwards. Like, what am I going to do next month? What's going to be the organizing principle for the next round of edits? And will that be another month-long challenge, and should I jump into it straight away or not? So definitely something to think about. Right now I'm thinking after this is done, I'll take a couple of days to go through everything I've done and figure out what exactly needs to be done next and come up with some organizing principle for it. It may or may not be a month-long challenge. It might be some other sort of plan, some other way of tracking. So that's coming up. There's a whole lot of thinking to do around that. And then, of course, it's the end of the year, and 2023 is around the corner, which is just mind-boggling. And so I guess everyone's kind of thinking about 2022 and what happened then, and 2023 and what we want to do during it. I've been going through all my notes and the blog posts and things that I wrote this year, listing all the projects I did, and it just feels like so much, just so much activity. Like, I flip through pages and pages of my notebooks and I see all these scribbly handwritten things, and then I think, how many minutes did it take to write this down? And then, I don't come up with an actual number, but the sense of that amount of time just trips me out, and I'm like, oh gosh, how can I even imagine spending a year's worth of time on anything? It just seems like too much for my brain to hold on to. I also think about, this time last year, what was I doing? And it's funny, I was doing something very similar. I remember where I was sitting. I'd sit on the patio. The weather was a lot like this. You know, it was kind of cool for Los Angeles and misty. And I was working on the novel. I was doing a different round of edits. It's basically when I edited Act 1, which I read as a part of this challenge and which kind of encouraged me that I can actually edit things and that it does actually make the writing better. So that was interesting that it's been a whole year since I did that. And all sorts of stuff has happened in between. But anyway, I'll stop going on and on about how I can't wrap my head around the passage of time. I don't typically make New Year's resolutions or set goals or anything at this time of year. Instead, I prefer to kind of use this quiet time between Christmas and New Year's to organize all my files and kind of summarize them and tuck them neatly out of sight, kind of tying the year up with a bow and putting it away. But if I were to make a New Year's resolution, it would be something to do with wanting to get better at long form storytelling, and even just thinking about a story as long as my novel or as long as, you know, what I did all year. Because when a story gets so big that I can't keep all the details in my head at once, I get weirdly overwhelmed, and I don't know why exactly. But I want to get used to it because I think I will have to if I'm going to keep writing and if I'm going to keep filling up these notebooks. I need to be able to read them and not worry so much about having forgotten the details. Anyway, those were some rambly thoughts about what's coming next, and I hope you enjoyed watching me draw this creepy mystery room that I can't really tell you about, and I hope you enjoyed following along on this weird experiment that I've been doing all month. I think there's gonna be a couple more updates in the next day or so, including the wrap-up, looking back on the whole experiment and what I liked about it. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!